Hey, and welcome back to Learning with Laser. Today we are going to be talking about 2-year-old milestones. So as we've talked about in the 18-month-old milestones, milestones are created by the CDC and they are basically guidelines on developmental skills for children. So if you are not sure too much about milestones, I suggest you go back and watch our last video and just the beginning of it and then dive into this 2-year-old group. So these are things your children should be working on as they turn 2, not have these accomplished by 2. However, if your child is advanced, then challenge them and move them up to the 3-year-old milestones. If your child is not ready for these yet, take a look at the 18-month-old milestones and practice those first. All right, so here's a couple milestones and ways to work on them. First, children copy others, especially adults and older children. So do you hear your child repeating you or mimicking your behaviors? This may be cute at times, but be cognizant that they are learning from your behaviors and your words. So be a good model and surround them with other good models. Use language you want them to use. Use body language, use motions. Anything you do, they're going to mimic, and you want it to be positive things that you want them to learn. Next is showing defiant behavior, doing what he or she has been told not to do. So this is your child testing and learning limits. While it is stressful for you, this is a key opportunity. Notice that your child is developing emotional intelligence. Your reaction is going to determine the future situations. Instead of channeling your natural adult response, try reframing the situation. So when your child goes to grab a power cord and pull it down from the TV, your response is like, no, don't do that. Because as an adult, I would respond to someone saying, no, don't do that. However, reframe the situation. Hands do not pull. Hands build with blocks, and hand your child some blocks. Give them something different to do in that scenario. You wanted to play with mommy's phone. You cannot. You can play with your toys instead. I usually put my phone away to make it easier for the child when this occurs. Or if I have to use my phone, I say, I'm going to walk away while you play with something else. Saying no to everything can feel really defeating for your child and for you. Find reasons to say yes instead. You wanted to play with mommy's phone. You may play with your toys. Yes, go get your toys. Do you see that feeling is different? You didn't have to say no to the phone, but they understood that was a no, but this is a yes scenario. All right, the next one is knowing the names of familiar people and body parts. Do you play while changing your child's diaper? Keep it simple. I'm gonna get your belly, and then tickle their belly as you unzip their PJs. Or as they get dressed, say, where are your toes? And then pull the pant leg on. And as their toes appear, say, oh, there they are, and tickle them. Acknowledging body parts in a playful way is the best way to introduce them to your child. And usually changing the diapers or changing clothes is a really good opportunity to practice this. Next is using 2 to 4 word sentences. Now, this does not mean your child needs to be speaking in full sentences at 2. This means as they turn 2 and they start utilizing more language, add words to their sentences. If they ask for milk by just saying milk, add milk please, or I want milk. Don't add words like mommy, milk, because mommy isn't necessarily a word they need to be utilizing in that structure. While it's nice to hear your name, you want them to be putting together a sentence. Mommy, I want milk could be a sentence. However, you don't want to add mommy before they understand that I want milk. So teach I want milk, then you can add in mommy, I want milk. If your child uses sign language, make sure you ask them and say the words as they sign. Up, please. They may sign please, and they may say up, up. Have them say up, please, even as they sign it. Say it to them, repeat it, have them repeat it to you. Now, I will encourage you not to try this when your child is frustrated. Do this during a happy, playful time, just to avoid unnecessary meltdowns and frustration when you don't need that. Next is pointing to things in a book. When reading, ask your child about what they see on the page. If they are not ready to answer yet, then model it for them. Look, doggy, and point to the dog. Guide your child's finger to the object and then say the name. Doggy, doggy, see? Doggy, can you say doggy? Next is beginning to sort shapes and colors. Think of this like your child gravitating towards all the pink objects in the room. This does not mean intentionally sorting, though you'd be surprised they can do it. But it means that naturally pulling favorites and then from there asking them to start grouping. So you pulled all the pink blocks. Can you find the blue blocks? And I would encourage you to do drastic differences. So don't do pink and red because they're a little too similar. Do black and white, or do pink and blue, or some colors that have a drastic difference to them. You can do it with animals. Go find all the doggies in the house if you have a lot of dog stuffed animals. And then you can start getting more creative by putting colored bowls out and asking them to put objects in those colored bowls. Next is completing sentences and rhymes in familiar books. Do y'all still sing classic nursery rhymes? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, Mary had a little lamb. These are great time fillers, especially in the car or when you're in a waiting room. I'm not sure if you know this, but for one of the SC4K assessments, children are asked to fill up rhyming skills based on classic Mother Goose nursery rhymes. I've noticed more often than not, our children do not hear these rhymes anymore. So we need to bring them back. They teach rhyme, they teach cadence, they teach a lot of skills. So go back to those old school nursery rhymes and start saying them with your child. You'll be surprised how much they love them. Next is following two-step directions. Pick up shoes, put in closet. These need to be very basic 2 steps that they're used to doing already. Start by asking them to do one thing and then immediately asking them to do the next. Then start partnering the 2 steps together. So go get your shoes. As soon as their shoes are in their hand, put them in your closet. Once the shoes are in their hand, remind them, put them in the closet. Be consistent and challenge them when you see the tasks becoming routine and easy for them. They're not going to get it right away, but remind them, even during, what the 2 steps are. Go get your shoes. You did it. Put them in the closet. Say it together first. Get your shoes. Put them in the closet. Then as they get them, put them in the closet. Next is kicking a ball. Now, I'm not saying that you need to have little active soccer players, but rather the ability to balance and tap the ball with their foot. This is not something they're going to naturally do, but you can definitely encourage it by asking them to pass the ball back and forth without using their hands. No hands, no hands. And then ask them to use the ball. Or say, oh, we need to clean up. Can you put the ball away using your feet? Remember to model so that no balls go flying into lamps at your house. All right, 2 more for you. Begins to run. So this is natural progression. Once they're comfortable walking, encourage your child to pick up the pace by chasing them around the house. I'm gonna get you, and then jog after them. When walking down a sidewalk, take bigger steps and ask them to catch up to you. Come get me, come get me. Luckily with their little legs, running for them really only means big steps for you. Next is makes copies or traces straight lines and circles when coloring. So this is where crayons have got to be in their hands. They're not going to start off doing lines and circles before they have crayons in their hands. So I know it's intimidating, and the messes make the best lessons, but draw with your child. Demonstrate, line, and you can hold the crayon the way they're holding it with a pencil, with a fist grasp instead of holding it like a pencil. Line, line. Can you do it? Line, line. Circle, circle. Take their hand and guide them. Circle. Demonstrate and have them mimic you. Make coloring a daily part of your routine. So as I've said before, these are just a few of the developmental milestones for 2-year-olds. These are the things you are working on while your child is the age of 2, not something they should have checked off by the time they turn 2. If you have any questions about these, please comment below. I'll be happy to answer. And as always, like and subscribe for more videos by Learning with Laser on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you so much.